Today's subject, Hewy Tune More.
Here comes Hewy, gonna give you the news. Time to watch his animated movie reviews, whether hand-drawn, CGI, puppets or clay. If you've got a good story, you'll be making his day. See you at the movies, cartoon movies. See you at the movies, all the news. See you at the movies, like nobody's business. Hey, see you at the movies, animated movies that is.
Actually, there has been some controversy surrounding his name. Even though he calls himself that now, he used to call himself Huey Lewis, and to complicate matters even more, his real name is Logan. So I'm going to call him Bill. Bill is somewhat popular with reviewers, having been reviewed by both the reviewer, Robert Million, and, well, now me. This is possibly because he nags us to death. But he made one fatal mistake. He said this: "Great review, dude. I think you and the reviewer are the best." Okay, that settles it. 0 out of 4 stars, because without taste, how can we trust anything you say? That's like saying, I like the irate gamer. So I guess that's that. My name is Marshall Horror, and I'm here to tell you that those who cannot do, critique. Wait. I kinda like the irate gamer. Shit. Let's go ahead and review Bill's animated movie reviews. Bill reviews animated movies. Mostly Western animated movies. Both old and new, the classics and the forgotten, the good and the, well, slightly less good. Indeed, Bill exclusively focuses on the movies he likes, even enjoying notably bad films. This review will focus both on his reviews of newer films and his more elaborate reviews of older movies. Keeping in mind his style is somewhat unpredictable and his structure changes depending on what he feels like doing. Sometimes his reviews are simple, other times very gimmicky, so nothing is set in stone here. Let's talk about his reviews of contemporary releases. And please keep in mind that I myself am not part of his target audience. Animated movies do nothing for me. But let's go ahead and bring up the reviewer Triforce. The newer releases tend to be more about the critiquing and the information. I suspect he's getting his info from Wikipedia, partially as I've checked and some of the wording is identical, but that's okay. He does this right. He presents the info in a highly organized manner, highlighting what is interesting or important and cutting out the boring and unnecessary details.
That's the segment of the show where I discuss what went on behind the scenes during the making of the film. So, how did this film get started anyway?
Romeo and Juliet started production back in 2001 when Elton John's production company, Rocket Pictures, optioned the script, and the intent was always the same. That would be Romeo and Juliet told with garden gnomes and with a soundtrack full of classic Elton John songs.
He also delivers this information with conviction, making it sound like his own. He's passionate and he speaks clearly, so all in all his delivery is very solid. His reviewing is good as well. Good, not great, but he doesn't have to be. He didn't get me interested in animated movies per se, but that's okay. It just separates the good from the exceptional. He discusses the story, the animations, the characters, the voice actors, the jokes, the songs, whatever. I wouldn't call him detailed, but the things he speaks about suggest to me that he clearly knows his animated films. He doesn't draw too much attention to the fact that he knows his shit, but you can tell anyway, and I'd say that's more important than just flaunting your knowledge. Knowledge means little to me when it comes to reviewing. It's just using that knowledge to showcase your critical abilities that's important.
But I will say this about the movie. The animation was pretty good.
While it's not up to Pixar standards, the animation is pretty decent, and I just love all the little details that went into the character designs and the environment. I mean, you can actually see chips of paint and stone missing in some of the gnomes. There's moss growing on some of them, and their eyes, even when they move around, still looks like they were hand-painted. Now that's awesome.
Earlier reviews had more humor and gimmicks, but he seems to have toned that down for his more recent reviews of newer films. The production values, they're okay. The lighting could use a little work, but he's got everything framed in a way that makes up for it, so I doubt you'll even notice unless you're looking. The audio is a little frustrating as his voiceover seems really quiet and the live action sequences become loud, meaning I was constantly battling with the volume. Still, I could understand him, and that's much more important. The editing is good all around, and these videos are usually 10 minutes long or even less. I definitely recommend that if you intend to see newer animated films, make sure you check out Bill's reviews. The only real disappointment is that they tend to come out a few weeks after their release. Still, I definitely give this show 3 out of 4 stars. But when he reviews older films, things become a bit more iffy, a little bit more complicated. The structure changes from normal reviewing to something derived from the nostalgia critic.
Oh, now wait just a minute. This is going too far. I've heard breaking the fourth wall, but this is ridiculous.
Sigh. I never will understand why people want to play the critic at his own game. It's just going to mean you're going to be compared, in which you're likely to lose. Well, yes, it's mostly homage, complete with similar cut-tos, similar freak-out moments, and even that stupid Benny Hill music that I guess is supposed to be funny. Too much homage makes me just want to watch what's being homaged instead. For those who don't know, this is the structure of the nostalgia critic and most of the people that came in his wake. You have the voiceover talking about the plot or doing the actual critiquing, then cut to the reviewer themselves, who will deliver a joke. To me, when you're not as funny as the critic is, it really harms the pace. Bill does way too many nostalgia critic-esque jokes for his own good, and his delivery when it comes to said jokes is kind of awkward at times. It's still endearing in a cheesy way, and I rarely, if ever, groaned. Sometimes I even chuckled, but it also limits his audience a bit more. Now you have to like nostalgia critic-esque type reviews, and you have to like Bill's delivery. Not to mention that you have to appreciate animated movies. From the clips I've shown, does he appeal to you? That's now really important. Whereas Morgul's of Vaulting seem to lack the energy to carry this style, Hewy just seems stiff. Stiffy. I am totally witty, man. There are some sketches, some of which are animated by D-Zilla. The animations are rough, but pretty good for what they are. I was impressed. It's also a nice gimmick compared to the After Effects spiel that's all the rage these days, so at least it comes across as fresh. Speaking of Morgul sometimes appears, and he is in fine form, the best I've actually ever seen him. I also recognized Apollo Z Hack among others, so at least it has some cool cameos. But the humor just means the review will be longer, as if it's adding fat to the review. These reviews can go from 20 to 30 minutes long, and if you like long reviews, then maybe you'll like this. I don't like overly long reviews, and while Bill is amusing, he's not funny enough to sustain my interest for the full running time. Nevertheless, he isn't as loud as the nostalgia critic, so for some people, they might prefer this more. Furthermore, the solid information and critiquing is still intact. At least the reviews were still pretty interesting. These reviews, all in all, are okay. I just prefer his contemporary reviews. With those, it felt like he had a notable voice within his subject. But his reviews of older stuff just feel similar and ordinary. Just another caustic critic, but without the actual caustic part. He does have plenty of fans who disagree, however. It's just a matter of connecting to his personality. That is the most important thing. These reviews get a 2.5 out of 4 stars from me. Ironically, Robert Millian completely went the other way, preferring the sketches. It just comes down to preferences, really. All in all, I'm going to give Bill a 3 out of 4 stars. Even though he's barely getting this 3-star rating from me, the reason I decided to be kinder is that the whole point of his reviews is to be a celebration of a medium he loves. And people who share his passion of animated movies should love his show. My name is Marshall Horror, and, well, I already did this part.